God, that's what the water.
Stop.
Mm-hmm. What's on Christ? All right, Shalom, Israel, Yahweh, Bashim Yahshua Bakathum, Yahweh Shamar, Thumb, Bashim Yahshua, Priest and Officer 1000, Yadai, holding class down. It's Monday night. Now, Black man, Latino man, First Nation man and woman, now is the time to come out of the world. Now is the time to come into the UPK. You know what I mean? And big ups, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? To the whole floor of the camp. You know what I mean? Cap, you know what I mean? It's Warrior Allah and them just came back from the Lord's Passover in Cocoa Beach, Florida. The Lord's Passover was glorious. We are now in the Feast of Unleavened Bread. We're going to talk about that. A couple of things I want to go over. First, we got to understand this, man, is that the Lord's Passover, you know what I mean, and the Feast of Unleavened Bread and the rest of these high holy days of the Lord, you know what I mean, has commanded us to observe and to keep. Like, you don't have to go out there and be like your family in the world and celebrate Easter or celebrate your birthday or celebrate Christmas or Thanksgiving. That is what the oppressor, you know what I mean, who is the devil that the Bible speaks of, wants our people to do. Well, you have to ask yourself this one question. Where were they? Where was those? Where was your family at? Where was your friends in the world that you hold so dear? Gotta understand. You know what they was doing Sunday? Claiming that they love our King. Wow, appreciate it. Claiming that they love our King and not even understanding, you know what I mean, how special, you know what I mean, our King is. The Passover is about our King, man. You know what I mean? You gotta understand this, Black man, Latino man, First Nation man and woman. Our King, Yahweh Shah Mashiach, giving up his life for the children of Israel who are Blacks, Latinos, and First Nation men and women. Like our holy King gave up his life so we can stop eating pork, so we can stop eating shrimp, crab, pork, and lobster. Stop celebrating Easter. Like it is offensive to our King. A lot of you don't understand. I'm gonna go into idolatry too today, where people don't understand that Easter is a Babylonian holiday. You know what I mean? Ishtar is what they call it. It's about, you know what I mean, sex and, you know what I mean, homosexuality. Something that the Babylonians and these heathens and the oppressor push today. The thing with our people, what we have to understand, if I could, brother, what's your name?
Jason.
Young man Jason, give me Deuteronomy 7 and verse 6. And Bakariala, you can hold Leviticus 20 and verse 26 for me. Again, the Isupk, so out of 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York, man. Priest and Officer your diet. Be answering your questions too. If y'all got any questions, put your questions in the chat. But first, let's get Deuteronomy 7 and 6. We have to realize as Blacks and Latinos, you can't be out here in the world celebrating your birthday and Christmas and Thanksgiving and Easter. What's the next one coming up? Memorial Day, I believe it is. Valentine's Day, all these other wicked holidays. You have to realize, man, as Blacks and Latinos, the real Israelites of antiquity, we are above that. We are above the oppressor and the days that he wants us to observe. Now is the time right now, especially if you're a brother, to gird up your loins, man, and to do what the Lord said to do. If you a sister, it's time to put that pride aside and do what the Most High God commanded us to do. And what is that? What is that the Lord commanded us to do? The Lord told us that we have to keep all of these laws, statutes, and commandments that is in this Bible. And what we don't understand as the Lord's chosen people, man, because we've been indoctrinated into the oppressor society, we feel as though that everybody is equal. We feel as though that God loves everybody, that it's all right to celebrate every evil, wicked holiday that the oppressor wants you to. But this is what the Lord said about blacks and Latinos and First Nation men and women. Read what you got when you get it.
Deuteronomy 7:6. For thou art an holy people unto the Lord thy God.
The Lord said, for thou art a holy people unto the Lord thy God. Meaning this, what does it mean that the Lord said, for thou art an holy people? Holy meaning separate, set apart. Holy does not mean your grandmother with that crazy feathered hat on, wearing her Sunday best, Bakar, y'all. You know what I mean? This past Sunday. It's not what that means. Holy is not your pastor or your imam with that white robe and gown on. It's not what holy means. Holy means to be separate or set apart. That is what holy means. Read on.
The Lord thy God hath chosen thee.
The Lord thy God have chosen thee. Let's slow it down a little bit, brother. The Lord thy God have chosen thee, meaning he chose us. The hardest thing to believe, right, especially in this evil, wicked society, America, is to believe that the God of Israel, man, chose blacks and Latinos and First Nation men and women. Because God has to love everybody, right? America teaches us that we have to love everybody while all of these other nations can treat us any old type of way like they have been doing. But contrary to your Christian mind, guess what? God said that I have chosen thee, meaning he chose you, black man. He chose you, Latino man, First Nation man and woman, to be what? Read on.
To be a special people.
To be a special people. What does it mean to be a special people? Who is more special than blacks and Latinos? Who? The oppressor? Ain't nothing special about the oppressor. Ain't nothing special about them Arabs and them Africans, man. Ain't nothing special about the Hawaiians, you know what I mean, and the Polynesians and the Filipinos. They're not special. God chose niggas, spicks, you know what I mean, and what they call savages, who are blacks, Latinos, and First Nation men and women, but really none of those bywords, because we're the real Israelites of antiquity. We're God's chosen people. He chose us to be a special people. Now, hear that for a minute. If God chose us to be a special people, what does he think about these other nations? I'll tell you, he don't care about them. The thing is, as blacks and Latinos, you have to look at that fellow brother like he's special, like she's special. That's something that we don't do here in America, because they teach us to hate each other and to hate our God and our King and love the oppressor and love these other nations, because our people defend them every day. You'll defend the actions of the rapist and the murderer and the thief, who is the oppressor, the devil that the Bible speaks of. But you'll make every excuse in the world, in the universe, to not come together with your brother and your sister. And that is a shame, man. Because God said that blacks and Latinos and First Nation men and women were a special people. Like if you have a special pair of shoes, right? That pair of shoes you hold in more esteem than your other pairs of shoes. Some of you got children, man, where that child is just so, you know, this is the one. This is that special child. And some of you, you know what I mean, and which is really, really heavy about it. Because we look at God like he's just our personal genie in the bottle, to quote Officer of 1,000 Zarwai, you know what I mean, by Yashikar. We think God is just our personal genie in the bottle, and he has to do everything that we tell him and everything that we think. No. You cannot make the Lord love these other nations. You cannot make the Lord accept your Easter or your Thanksgiving or your Christmas, man. Who the hell are we to come against our power, our God that brought us up out of Egypt, man? That's what the thing what our people don't understand. And you don't question nothing in that filthy Christian church. You don't question nothing. Like next time you go to church, because I know y'all go to church on Sundays. I was in the club Saturday night because you was in that same dress Saturday night, and Sunday morning you twerking in the church, letting your kids get molested. Your husband is a homosexual messing with somebody in the choir, and you screaming hallelujah and paying 20% in tithes. Never understood that, because ask your pastor where bunnies lay eggs, and you got to go out there and collect them and do that in the name of Christ. Show me where Christ said to do that. Show me where the Most High put that in our records. I'll tell you, it ain't there. But you know what is here? The Lord telling us that we are a special people. Read on.
unto himself.
Unto himself. Meaning the Lord chose us to be a special people unto himself. The Most High chose us all to himself. Not everybody. But the Lord, listen, if these other nations were chosen, like it says, man, in the Bible, they would be listening to the Lord. They would be observing the Passover. I give you an example. The so-called Jew tries to observe the Passover. And it's not about them, because they are our enemies, man. The so-called Jew that calls himself a Jew is not a Jew, but indeed the devil that the Bible speaks of. We're the real Jews. Every black and Latino and First Nation man and woman should be observing the Passover. You should have been in Cocoa Beach, Florida. You couldn't have made it, fine. You should have been at least watching it, you know what I mean? You did a live stream. You know what I mean? You're supposed to eat that lamb. You're commanded to eat this unleavened bread for 7 days, man. And here's the thing. What would you rather do? Instead of doing that, you want to smoke weed? Like sis, you want to get high? You want to be a whore or a whoremonger? Come on, man. That's what America teaches us. But this Bible, which is the record of all blacks and Latinos, our God is telling us something that's going to save our lives. Is that he only cares about blacks and Latinos and First Nation men and women. Like, we got to stop putting that garbage, you know what I mean, on our power, that he cares for everybody, you know what I mean, and wants everybody to come together all kumbaya. That's not the truth. That's a damn lie, man. The Lord chose us to be a special people unto himself. Read on.
Above all people.
Above some people.
Above all people.
Above the oppressor. Read it again.
Above all people.
Above all people. We are above all people, black man, Latino man, First Nation man, woman, Shalom, warrior, Lord Christ. Well, we got to realize, man, the Lord only loves us, and he loves us above all people. Like, it's a hard thing to believe, right? That the Lord loves us more than these other nations because of the condition that we're in. We have to understand that the Most High God, Yahweh, is our Father. Like Christ said, man, our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. He ain't everybody's father. He's our Father. We all have children, right? Let me ask you a question. If you tell your son or your daughter, if you go outside and play with them knuckleheads on the corner, I'm going to F you up. Don't do it. Don't try me. And they go do it. Do you go outside and punish every child out there, or do you go punish your children? You know why you punish your children? Because you're a good father. You're a good mother. That's what you're supposed to do. Well, God is our Father, and we're being punished because of the condition that we're in right here. Wanting to be like these other nations. Wanting to think that we free white 21. And we are not. That's why the Lord chose us to be above all people. You trying to seek acceptance and camaraderie, Ibad, with the devil, with the oppressor. And devil just means deceiver. When we say the oppressor is the devil that the Bible speaks of, I'm not talking about, you know what I mean, some little oppressor in red and pink pantyhose, you know what I mean, with a pitchfork that's going to pitch you, you know what I mean, and poke you for all eternity in purgatory and hell. No, hell is a condition that we live in. Like, North Philly is hell. Southwest Philly, West Philly, Northeast Philly, Norristown is hell. Am I lying, Bakar? Not. That's real hell. And we're in real hell right now because we disobeyed our God. Well, how about now turning back from our wickedness and doing what the Lord said to do? That's why the Lord sent his prophets back in 1969, man. And we've been doing this, man, doing these things the Lord told us to do. Read on, 30 more.
Yeah.
Keep reading.
That are upon the face of the earth.
That are upon the face of the earth. Meaning we are above everybody that is on the face of the earth. And for good reason. You want to know why? Because, and this is a question I got to ask the class. What benefit do we get from celebrating Easter? Like, what benefit do you get from celebrating your birthday, from celebrating Christmas, for smoking weed and doing other drugs? What do you gain from that? What do you gain? You get a little escape from the hell that we get. I understand that. But it comes a time, you know what I mean, as a black man, a Latino man, or a First Nation man, where you got to put back on your strength and do what our God said to do. Because we've been far too weak for far too long. Now is the time, man, to realize that you got to do what our God commanded us to do, and these other nations do not have our benefit at the mind. They don't. Like we have to realize, like, that this is the same oppressor that thinks of new ways to annihilate blacks and Latinos. Like I know the big conspiracy theory. I know y'all be watching Alex Jones. I know y'all be watching Joe Rogan and them on YouTube. You know what I mean? Humanoid reptilian Jews. You know what I mean? Yeah, I get it. I understand. Let me tell you what the real Illuminati conspiracy is. The real thing that the oppressor does not want you to know. That they have God's chosen people, the blacks and Latinos and First Nation men and women in slavery in America, in slavery in Mexico, in slavery in South America, in slavery on the West Indian Islands, in Haiti, and in the Dominican Republic. That's what they don't want us to know. It's not that deep. A lot of y'all overthink it. It's because you're smoking weed. One day y'all gonna get off that weed, man. One day y'all gonna realize, man, that the oppressor is really the devil that the Bible speaks of. Because while you were sitting on your clubhouse, while you were on social media, being an individual, like being a hyper Christian or Muslim, wearing your dresses, having your kids and get molested and all that nonsense, you know what I mean, and atrocities, guess what? You know what I mean? The brothers and sisters in the UPK was observing the Lord's Passover, man. The Lord's Passover. What you do in your basement in your individual light group is not the Lord's Passover. What you do and what you did in them strip clubs, my bad, Bakari Allah, in those gentlemen's establishments with the working girls. They call them working girls. They call them whores or hoes back then. So that's what they are now. Guess what? You weren't observing the Lord's Passover, man. You want to observe the Lord's Passover, the Feast of Unleavened Bread, the right way, the correct way, the one West way. You got to come into the ISUPK, man. That's why it's time to separate ourselves from the oppressor's world. You can drop that, Brother Bakar. Give me Leviticus 20 and verse 26. And if I could, young man Jason, Jason, right? Yes, sir. Young man Jason, give me Leviticus 23 and start at verse 6. Yeah, matter of fact, no. Give me whole Exodus 12 and verse Start at verse 17. But let me get Leviticus 20 and verse 26 first. For sure.
The book of Leviticus, chapter 20, verse 26. And ye shall be holy unto me.
Again, the Lord is telling blacks and Latinos that we have to be holy, meaning we have to be separate. Meaning this, what you doing right now, being in that Christian church, being in that Muslim mosque, you're not doing what the Lord said to do. You want to know why? Because it doesn't matter if you're a Buddhist, doesn't matter if you're a Rastafarian, doesn't matter if you're in the Catholic Church or in Islam, you're still a Christian. And God did not choose everybody to be separate, to be holy. He chose blacks and Latinos and First Nation men and women to be holy, to be separate. Read on.
For I, the Lord, am holy.
For I, the Lord, am holy. Meaning the Most High God, Yahweh, man, is telling us that we are holy, that He is holy. Holy meaning separate. That's what it means to be separate, set apart. Even if you look at the Bible, right? Something as simple as this. It says Holy Bible, meaning this ain't for everybody. This holds our records. Like, how dumb and stupid do you look, right? Picking like bars off. Like, what the? I'm about to say, what do I look like going into a mosque saying salami, eggs, and bacon? Let me learn about Allah. I'm not an Arab. I'm not an Arab. What do I look like being a Buddhist? I'm not Chinese. Black man, Latino man, First Nation man and woman, we're not slow. They're slow, biblically and genetically, because it's in the Bible. Moab and Ammon and the Japanese, they're slow. What do we look like observing their culture? And the real question I bought is, when did they become the standard of morality? That's what I want to know. That's what I want to know. Because these are the same people that eat anything and everything. While we, you know what I mean, have a dietary law, the Chinese, they eat anything, brother. Like it was hood mythology for years. I know where I'm from, it's 60th and King Cecil in Southwest Philly, right? That they used to eat cat and dog. Brother, they really do. They really do. The Lord said, you know, and I'm gonna send this COVID, but I'm gonna send it to Moab first. They down to eating bats. They down to eating bats. Like, did it surprise you? Does it surprise you? It shouldn't. Because we have what the Lord gave us, man, our records in these law, statutes, and commandments. While we observe the Passover and the Feast of Unleavened Bread, what do these heathens do? What are they doing? What does the oppressor push? That pork is the other white meat. That homosexuality is an alternative lifestyle. Like, these are the abominations that they put on our people, and we go with it, no sweat. But when we tell you that you got to observe the Lord's Passover because Africans had us in slavery, in bondage, in captivity, again, we tell you that you're not an African and the Africans had us in slavery, you be like, oh, no, man, you crazy. No, we was living peacefully with Pharaoh and the Egyptians. I'm an Egyptian, nigga. Hotel. Stop it. Stop it. We were the slaves in Egypt, man. And that's why Egypt is a desolate dust bowl to this day, because of what our God done to those Africans, man. And that's why the Lord is telling us that I, the Lord, am holy. God is separate. So if we're separate, right, and God is separate, this right here just cuts and proves, right, that the Lord is not with everybody. Like, the Lord ain't with the so-called Jew that calls himself a Jew that's trying to observe the Lord's Passover with them dry-ass crackers that they be eating every year that you see in them supermarkets. Man, that ain't unleavened bread. That unleavened bread, get the sisters in the UPK hand. That unleavened bread that we had at the Passover and the Feast of Unleavened Bread. Let me tell you that. I don't know about you, Bob, but I kept going back. I said, boy, this surely the Lord dwells here, man, because he does. And what were you doing? Eating pork, eating shrimp, crab, and lobster. Man, now is the time to gird up your loins to make your election sure and do what our God said to do. You should be in these classes. You should be tuning in online if you can't make it physically. Like, we don't have that much time, Akim and Akwakim. We do not. We don't have that much time. Like, World War III is right around the corner. Like the Lord said, man, you know what I mean, that he was going to plague the earth and send the sword. Our king prophesied, man, and said that we were going to hear rumors of war, man, and all of these abominations that's going on today. Because America is spiritually Egypt and Sodom. Right. That's why it's important for us to separate. Like, what the hell do you think you're going to gain? That's a question I got to ask the class. What do you gain in the oppressor's kingdom and society? Like, what do you gain? A couple dollars an hour at your elevator plantation? Where he still don't want to give you a day off, Bakar? You know what I mean? Like, you got to fight the oppressor to get a day off. And where do you think they got that from? When I went over this, I believe last Monday. Now we went into the Exodus, man. The Commander General Yohana, man, brought this out as well on Black Watch, man. Broke it down so eloquently. We went to Pharaoh asking for 3 days. He was like, these niggas got too much time on their hands. And gave us more work. That's why your Egypt that you love so bad is a desolate dust bowl to this day. And we observe, you know what I mean, the Lord's Passover when the Lord sent the death angel down to smite and kill those firstborn of them Hamites, man. That's why the Lord don't love everybody. It's right here. It's telling us, man, that he's only for our people. Because we're holy, because our God is holy. Meaning our God is set apart, we're set apart. Right. Now is the time to set yourself apart from that Easter. To set yourself apart from that weed that you've been smoking. Read on.
And have severed you from other people.
And have severed you from other people. What does it mean to have severed you from other people? I'll tell you. If I was to sever my arm, right? I'm severing my arm from my body, meaning it's no longer attached. We don't have no attachment to these people, man. We don't. They're not our people. The oppressor is not your friend. He ain't your buddy. He ain't your brother. He's not. The The Lord saw us in the mix of these other nations, man, and said, I'm about to sever that Latino man and woman. I'm going to sever that First Nation man and woman. I'm going to sever that black man and woman. Why? Read on.
Come. That ye should be mine.
That ye should be mine. Because we belong to the Most High. We belong to our God. Black man, Latino man, First Nation man and woman. I pray you understand. And what's some of the things that our God commanded us to do? If I could, young man Jason, give me Leviticus. No, I asked for Exodus. Give me Exodus 12 and verse 17, biblical show.
And ye shall observe the feast of unleavened bread.
And ye shall observe the feast of unleavened bread. Why do we have to observe the feast of unleavened bread? The short answer is because the Lord said so. Because our God commanded us to. Got to understand this, man. When we came out of Egypt, we was in such haste and such a hurry. Like we were like, man, we got the hell up out of here. We are out. We gone. We didn't have time, you know what I mean, to bake the bread and everything. No, we ate the bread as it was, man. That's why the Lord said we're going to observe the feast of unleavened bread, man. And all the unleavened bread should be out your cribs. If it ain't, get it out now. Get it out now, black man, Latino man, First Nation man and woman. Get that leavening out your crib, man. Read on.
For in this self-same day have I brought your armies out of the land of Egypt.
The Lord brought your armies out of the land of Egypt. Meaning the Lord brought us out of Egypt, out of bondage, out of slavery. And it's so spiritual, Ibad, you know what I mean? Because this is what our God did for us. This is what our power did for us. And we're supposed to remember this, man. That's why the Lord said in Deuteronomy, the 32nd chapter, I believe the 7th verse, to remember the days of old, man. We have to remember the days of old. We have to remember our high holy days and our feast days and observances, man. We have to remember. Because if you don't, you're going to be caught out there with your kids out in your church, right? Collecting eggs from a bunny. Like rabbits don't lay eggs, man. And what you got to realize, black man, Latino man, First Nation man and woman, that you're in idolatry when you're in that Christian church and when you're in that Muslim mosque. Like, ask yourself a real good question when you was in church. And you can still ask it. Ask your pastor about the Feast of Unleavened Bread. You'll be shocked to find out that he really doesn't know nothing. He'll say, oh, we don't got to worry about that. We don't got to worry about the Passover. How about that, Barzo? They saying we don't got to worry about the Passover. We don't have to worry about the Feast of Unleavened Bread. That's why Christianity is garbage and it's failed our people, man. The Lord said this, man, in Exodus 12 and verse 17, and ye shall observe the Feast of Unleavened Bread, for in this selfsame day I brought your armies out of the land of Egypt. The Lord brought us out of Egypt, man. Brought us out of our captivity. You think the Black Panther is your friend. They are our enemies, man, and they hate us to this very day. That's why a lot of you look so stupid when you put onks on. When you want to big up Ra and Akhenaten, man. Pick up the Captain Zariak for smashing Malik, Zulu, Shabazz, man. Bashing, I can tell y'all why I was shy, man. Bashing, you know what I mean? Smashing that Egyptologist cat, man. But the problem is, man, you think that you can go back to Africa. You think that Africa is the answer. Ask yourself this question, and it's a simple one. Do they take Africans out their cars and put their knees on them for more than 8 minutes? Do they roll up in African men and women's cribs and murder them in cold blood? Wait a minute, I got a better one. Do they stop Africans at the border when they get off the plane and send them back to Zimbabwe and Uganda? No, they don't do that. You know why they do it to the Latino man? You know why they do it to the black man and woman? Because we're the Israelites of antiquity. You know why they tell the First Nation and Seminole Indian man and woman, you know what I mean, that you got to get on this plantation, this concentration camp, which is not really a reservation because it's not meant to preserve the North American Indian, the First Nation man and woman, or the Seminole Indians, because they're God's chosen people. They're oppressed. They're our brothers and our sisters, man. That Latino man and First Nation man and woman, they're our people, black man and woman, and Africans are not. You are not African. You are not. You're not Nigerian. You're not from the Ashanti. You're not from Ghana. You're not Ugandan. You're an Israelite of antiquity if you're a black man or woman, or a Latino man or First Nation man and woman. And you should be observing the feast of unleavened bread. Read on, brother.
Therefore shall ye observe this day in your generation by an ordinance forever.
For a little bit.
Forever.
For a couple days.
Forever.
The Lord said, therefore shall you observe this day and your generations by ordinance forever. Meaning we always going to be remembering and observing the Feast of Unleavened Bread, man, the Passover, and these high holy days. Why? Because our God commanded us to do this. And it goes to show you that your pastor don't really know the Bible or understand it because they don't do it. They don't do it. They don't got unleavened bread in their church right now. They got that pork sandwich, though. They got that pork chop and them hog maws. They got them chitlins. You eating guts. You eating intestines in there. You eating shrimp, crab, and lobster in there, which is unlawful, by the way. But the Lord said that we was going to observe the Feast of Unleavened Bread forever. Not a little bit, not a while. And for you fake Israelites, this is for y'all. Because this is what really gets, this is what I really ponder, Bakar. You know what I mean? They say, well, we can't really do it in captivity. We can't keep the Passover. We can't keep the Feast of Unleavened Bread because we're in America. We're in slavery. My question is, because they tell us we're not in Jerusalem, right? We're not in Zion. Am I making this up? Raise your hand if you heard this before. You heard it before, right? Where they say we can't keep the Passover and the Feast of Unleavened Bread because we're in America. Barzal, where were we when we had our first Passover? where was we when we observed the Feast of Unleavened Bread? I buy ya in the goddamn wilderness, in the jungle, like goddamn, I ain't trying to make fun of nobody, but I be like, man, Moses and Christ were commanding John Yohanan, man, because you could be out there in the world saying this garbage. Like Commander John Yohanan has held on to this truth, man, since he came in here as a young brother. He endured, big shout out to Priest and Officer Yaiquab, man, and Officer Danyala for these fire endure t-shirts, man. And to my brothers that graduated Hebrew Academy class of 22, you understand what endure means. You understand. I pray you understand, man. Check that out, Ibad. Well, we have to realize as the Lord's chosen people, man, the Lord said to observe this forever. Not a little bit. Not a couple days, but forever. That means because we're in captivity in America, slavery in America, that don't mean that we can't keep the Feast of Unleavened Bread. We have to, because the Lord said that we got to keep it in our generations forever. Meaning we have to do it, our children have to do it, their children's children have to do it, and we got to do it when we come back. Read on.
That's it for 7, sir. You want me to go to 18?
Yeah, read verse 18.
In the first month, on the 14th day of the month at even, ye shall eat unleavened bread.
Now, the 14th day, now, the first month, the 14th day of the month at even, ye shall eat unleavened bread, man. Meaning right after the Passover. You know what I mean? For the next 7 days, we have to eat unleavened bread. Meaning you got to make sure you eat a piece of unleavened bread every day. Now, I'll give you a hint, man. I keep a bag of Doritos on me, man. And Doritos are unleavened bread. It's considered unleavened bread. For the next 7 days, you got to make sure you eat some unleavened bread, black man, Latino man, First Nation man and woman. Read on.
Until the 120th day of the month at even.
To the 120th day at even. That'll be this Saturday. This Saturday, you know what I mean, we'll have a closing of the Feast of Unleavened Bread at 7 o'clock. So in whatever zone that you're in, make sure, you know what I mean, you get to your school, man. Get to your zone, you know what I mean, and observe, you know what I mean, the last day of the Feast of Unleavened Bread, man. So for these next 7 days, you got to eat unleavened bread. Read on.
Exodus 12:19. 7 days shall there be no leaven found in your houses.
Now, you supposed to throw your leaven out. You got to throw your leaven out, man. You got to make sure it's out. It should have been out already. If you still got leaven in your house, you better run home and throw it out now. You better get rid of it. You better throw it right in the garbage. I don't want to hear, you know how much them pizzas cost? You know how much this costs? Throw it in the damn garbage. Throw it in the trash. That's what you got to do. The Lord said, no unleavened bread shall be found, man, in your home. Clear it out. Read on.
For whosoever eateth that which is leavened, even that soul shall be cut off from the congregation.
Now, if you eat that unleavened, if you eat leavened bread during this time, man, your soul will be cut off. I'll give you an example, man. Like if you was caught willingly doing this, you know what I mean, boy, you was done. That was it for you. You was considered, man, a stranger. Now, if you eat something, you know what I mean, and you ain't know, that's why it's important to read the packaging, you know what I mean, or whatever foods that you get. You got to make sure you paying attention, man. Looking at them packages and everything of the food that you getting and make sure they no leaven in it. Now, if you eat something by mistake, you know what I mean, and you didn't know, that's not going to count against you. But it's important, man, to check, you know what I mean, everything. Everything. It ain't that hard. You know what I mean? My first piece of unleavened bread bars, you know what I mean? It was a little rough. But I was like, damn. I mean, it's still food you can eat out in my guapi. You know, fruit is still here. I mean, you can still eat, you know what I mean? You can still eat your meat. You ain't got to have a goddamn sandwich. Then I tell you what I do, man. I like carne asada. You know what I mean? You get some, you know what I mean? You get the right corn tortillas. Don't got no leavening in it. You good. 100% corn tortillas, man. Throw that steak on that grill, man, or your stove. You can get down. You can get down. It's all in your mind, man. And don't let Satan play you. Don't let, you know what I mean? Don't let him play you for a fool and a punk, man. Don't make it harder than what you have to. Really is showing discipline. I mean, this is what our God is commanding us, man. Read on.
From the congregation of Israel, whether he be a stranger or born in the land.
Whether he be a stranger or born in the land, man. Whether if you was born in Israel, you know what I mean, in the land, in Jerusalem and Zion, or if you was an Israelite that was born elsewhere, man. Guess what? You got to observe the Feast of Unleavened Bread. You got to do what our God commanded us to do. Read verse 20.
Ye shall eat nothing leavened.
You shall eat nothing leavened. Meaning you ain't supposed to be eating nothing right now that got leavening in it. Read on.
In all your habitations shall ye eat unleavened bread.
No matter where you go, you're going to be eating unleavened bread. That's what we're supposed to do. That's what we're supposed to do. But right now in the Christian church and the Muslim mosques, right, they want to do what they want to do. You want to celebrate Easter. You want to get deep into idolatry. And I'm going to go into that real quick, right? If I could, Bakar, hold Romans 1:25, right? Young man Jason in the Apocrypha. Bakar, you can hold this in the Apocrypha. Give me Baruch, right? The 6th chapter. And young man Jason, I want you to hold Romans 1 and verse 25. Bubba for sure. Go ahead.
Baruch something else. Don't go to 6.
Select. Baruch chapter 6, brother. The book of Baruch, chapter 6. And I want you to start at verse 1. But before we get that, right? Before we go to Baruch, the 6th chapter, let me get young man Jason, let me get Romans chapter 1 and verse 25. So, y'all got any questions in the room? None? All right. Go ahead, Bakar.
So I don't got 6. Chapter 6.
In the Apocrypha.
Right. Mine was 1 to 5.
Yeah, it's like, come over here and get my Apocrypha. Oh, for sure. Young man Jason, you can read Romans chapter 1 and verse 25.
Who changed the truth of God into a lie.
Now, in Romans chapter 1 and verse 25, it says, who changed the truth of God in a lie? Who changed the truth of God into a lie? Real Talk Podcast, some Doritos have pork. The nacho cheese and the spicy and the Cool Ranch do not have pork, brother.
That's right.
It does not have pork. Now, there are some that do. I forget the name of the bag, but it's like one of those real, go ahead, sis.
I think it's purple.
Or the purple one, the chili?
Yeah, I think so. It's like a purple flavor.
I had to double check the sweet chili, but it's another one. It's another one in a lime green bag. I think it's like lime, like some type of lime habanero spice. That one has pork, but the nacho cheese and the Cool Ranch and the spicy, they wild. They good. They good to go. Now, who changed the truth of God into a lie? Who told you? You know what I mean? This is what I never understood, right? Who told you that homosexuality was an alternative way of living? Who told you, you know what I mean, that you got to observe Easter Sunday? Easter in the Bible is a mistranslation for guess what? Who wants to guess that? Passover. That's what Easter is, the Passover. That's what, and they don't teach that in the Christian church because 9 times out of 10, your pastor is either too high or molesting somebody's child or sleeping with somebody's wife to understand. Now, who changed the truth of God into a lie? Who told you that Christ died for everybody, that he endured all that suffering for the oppressor and these other nations? Who told you to go to church and wear your Sunday best and that suit and tie and lie to your kids and tell them rabbits lay eggs and you got to go out there and collect eggs for Christ? Hallelujah. That's a damn lie, man. But you know what Christ did do? Christ observed the Passover. Christ did that. Christ and the 12 disciples observed the Passover. Why aren't you? You want to know why? Because it's easy to be a Christian. It's easy to fall into idolatry. It's fun. It's fun even. They tell you they're having a ball over there. They're not going to have a ball on that dreadful day of the Lord. I can promise you that. I can promise you when Christ really returns, they're not going to be enjoying it then, young men. They not. They are not going to like it when our king, a black man by the name of Yahweh Shah Mashiach, returns and lays waste to America and these heathens. Right. Now, who changed the truth of God into a lie? Read on.
And worship and serve the creature more than the creator.
And worship and serve the creature more than the creator. You'll rather celebrate Easter. Now, Easter to the oppressor and in your Christian mind, it's about bunnies and eggs, but it's a lot deeper than that. You ever heard of Babylon? We were in Babylon.
Right.
Salakia Abad, we're still in Babylon. Because America is Babylon. America is Egypt. That's what America is. The great whore. Now you worship and serve the creature more than the creator. In the time of Babylon, right, they have their own goddess, a goddess called Ishtar, which is a fertility god. That's where the eggs come from. So what you don't realize is you twerking and being a whore and over-sexualizing yourself, being a whore, a whoremonger, you're in the spirit of the Babylonians and of something that they do Easter. And you don't even know it. You have no clue. But you think you're serving the Most High. You think you're doing what our King commanded us to do. Nah. You falling into idolatry, brother and sister, man. And let me explain it to you, right? I buy a whole Amos 5 and verse 21. Bakar Yala, I'm going to drop that in Romans, right? Yeah, Baruch. I'm going to tell him I just drop that in Romans. Now, give me Baruch, right? Chapter 6 and start at verse 4.
The book of Baruch, chapter 6, verse 4. Now shall ye see in Babylon.
Now, these are the things that you are going to see in Babylon. Lord is telling Baruch, man, like prep Israel. This is what the things that we are going to see while we are in Babylon. Read on.
Gods of silver and of gold.
Gods of silver and of gold. That sound familiar? Gods of silver and of gold that we would see in Babylon. Here in America, we see all different types of gods. You got the Buddhists celebrating, you know what I mean, being a Buddhist, you know what I mean, expecting us to believe that some fat Moabite Bakariala went how many days only eating a grain of rice when they eat everything on the earth, where they eat bats. You mean to tell me he stopped eating bats for to eat one grain of rice? I wasn't born yesterday, and if I was, I stayed up all night. We're not done. Got to understand this. These are the things that we see. We see the gods of silver and of gold here in America. You see them. You know what else you see? You see Christianity. You see Islam. You see, what's that one our West Indian brothers and sisters do? The Rastafarianism. Not realizing, right, that you're giving, you know what I mean, your you know what I mean, your, you know what I mean, praise to another God. And the Lord said that we should not have any other gods before him because he is a jealous God. Being a Rastafarian, you're really serving Shiva, the god of the East Indians, man. It's where them nappy dreadlocks come from. Dreadlocks are not Israelite culture. Them shitlocks, Salakia, them dreadlocks you wear in your head, man, that ain't Israelite culture. But you know what is Israelite culture? These beards, boots, and braids. That's our culture. But we see these gods of silver and gold, man. We saw it back then in Babylon, and we see it now. You want to know why? You want to know why? If I could, young man Jason, we're going to come right back to this, right? We're going to come right back to this, Bakaryah. I want you to get me real quick. Give me Ecclesiastes, right? 1 and start at verse bobbity. Let me hear Ecclesiastes chapter 1 and verse 9. Bubble Kushon. Yeah, Ecclesiastes chapter 1 and start at verse 9.
Come. The thing that hath been, it is what shall be.
The thing that hath been is that which shall be. Now, what is the thing that hath been? The thing that hath been is us, is man. That's what it is. The thing that hath been. We've been here before. When you die, black man, Latino man, First Nation man and woman, we come back in the regeneration. You don't die and go up, you know what I mean, into the sky and be with the Most High. No, you don't. You don't die and go down there to purgatory to hell with some oppressor with pink pantyhose or red pantyhose. No. When you die, your spirit is judged by the Most High and you're sent back. Right. Now, read on.
Come. And that which is done is that which shall be done.
And that which is done is that which shall be done. And if you was a brother in your past life of the tribe of Judah or of the tribe of, you know what I mean, or whatever tribe you were, you're going to come back as that. You're not going to come back as a different gender. You're going to come back as the same gender that you were.
Right.
Now, reading on.
Come. And there is no new thing under the sun.
There is no new thing under the sun. You know what they were doing in Babylon back then? We saw gods of silver and gold and of wood. You know what we see now? Gods of silver and gold and of wood. Why is that? Because there's no new thing under the sun. Meaning we've been here before. It's like, do they still say this, Barzo? I've seen this movie before. We've seen this before because you lived it before. And if you're in this truth, man, you did something to impress the Most High to be here. I pray you understand. So when you see these gods, you know what I mean, of silver and gold, just know you saw them back then. That's why the Lord is saying, now we can drop that, water brother. Now, Bakar, go back to Baruch chapter 6.
The book of Baruch chapter 6, verse 4. Now shall ye see in Babylon gods of silver and of gold.
You see in Babylon gods of silver and of gold. Read on.
And of wood.
And of wood. We see gods of wood too. You see Buddha. You see that Christian cross. Another thing which is so dumb to me, Bakar, y'all, what I never understood, right? If Christ was shot with a gun, would you wear a gun around your neck? Come on now. Why are you wearing a cross? Christ wasn't the first man to be crucified on a cross. That was a common form of execution back then.
Right.
Like that like them crucifying a black or Latino or First Nation man is no different than shooting a brother right now. It's no different than hanging them from a tree. Which goes to show you that Christ was a black man because he died in a nigger way. That was a common form of execution, especially the way that they used to do to us. But you celebrate gods of wood. You wear that oppressor on your neck, man. And Christ was not a white boy, man. Jesus Christ, Yahweh in the Hebrew, man, was a black man like me and you, man. Christ was an austere man. Christ was hardcore. He wasn't no beach boy. He wasn't no punk. And guess what? He ain't died so you can celebrate Easter. He ain't died so you can have your kids in the backyard looking for bunnies. He didn't die so you can continue to celebrate your birthday, man. No. Christ died so you can come back in this truth and celebrate the Passover. And celebrate, you know what I mean, the Feast of Unleavened Bread and the rest of these high holy days and observance, man, the feast days that we have. See, gods of wood and gold and silver, reading on.
Borne upon shoulders, which caused the nations to fear.
Which caused the nations to fear. Meaning this, I need you to understand, and it's so heavy, Barzal, because it goes right into it. This is why the mark of the beast is Christianity. Everybody on the earth fears the oppressor. You know the term get down or you'll lay down? It's really for the oppressor. He tell you better get down and you're going to lay down. You ain't got no choice. The Japanese thought that too. They over there wearing suits and ties right now. Konnichiwa. Stop it. Look at the Arabs. They used to wear them towels on their head, man. You know what I mean? And dresses. Now they wearing suits and ties as well. Because I'm the oppressor. And especially if you black, Latino, or First Nation, you don't have a choice. You're looking at the oppressor like he's God. That's why Christianity is the mark of the beast, man. Because guess what? When you hear, you know what I mean, buy, you know what I mean, you can't buy or sell. You think about your Eve's, your wife's, you know what I mean, food stamp card. You ain't gonna be able to go, you know what I mean, the ShopRite or Giant and get your food. It ain't talking about that. That's talking about commerce. Meaning, if you don't get down with the oppressor, Haiti will put economic sanctions on you. We'll put, you know what I mean, but we'll put sanctions on you where you can't import or export, man. They put embargoes on the children of Levi, who are the Haitians and the Dominicans, man, and the Puerto Ricans, where they can't go, you know what I mean, and export and import the items that they have. You can't send bananas from there no more. Like, you can't ship, you know what I mean, from Haiti, you know what I mean, and Cuba has it, you know what I mean, just as bad, of the tribe of Manasseh. Them embargoes that they have on the tribe of Manasseh, who are the Cubans, and of the tribe of Levi, who are the Haitians, and our West Indian brothers and sisters in Trinidad and Tobago, Jamaica, and St. Lucia. Guess what? Because the oppressor is the devil that the Bible speaks of. That's dealing with you can't be able to buy nor sell. It's in your right hand. It's in your mind. It's in your heart. That Christianity. When you bow your Christian eyes to sleep, what do you see? You see Caesar Borgia. Ask the Brazilians. Ask the Colombians. When you go over there to Bolivia, you see Caesar Borgia right there. Idols and gods of wood, stone, and silver and gold. Am I making this up? No. This is what we see. This is what goes on till this very day. But you want to tell me, Salakia for the language, about a chip that Alex Jones said that was going to go up your ass. Stop it. Stop it, black man, Latino man, First Nation man and woman. Now is the time to cut the weed out. Stop smoking weed. Start there. Stop smoking weed. Stop getting high, period, off of anything. And gird up your loins, man, and come and learn this truth from the Isupk, the commander of your honor, man. Let's read on.
Verse 5. Beware, therefore, that ye in no wise be like to strangers.
Now, it says beware, that you be in no wise be like to strangers. Man, we ain't supposed to be afraid of those people, man, and they gods. We're not supposed to fear them. We're not supposed to fear them. I buy a whole Romans. Give me Romans 8:31. Bubba Quishaw. Let me get there with you real quick. I buy a whole Romans 8. Yeah. Yeah, kind of. Whole 8, Romans 8 and verse 31. We was not supposed to fear, you know what I mean, these other nations, man, and their gods. What the hell is there to fear from them? Their gods can't hurt you.
Right.
Caesar Borgia can't hurt you. Allah cannot hurt you. Explain something to you. That's why Ishmael's a wild man, Barzal. They blow themselves up. They go jihad. But guess what? You want to know how you know that Allah is not real and it's the figment of the imagination of the Arabs? Because the oppressor is over there bombing them to smithereens too, invading their lands. And what has Allah done? Nothing. He went on vacation, Bakari, because of the COVID, because of what the God of Israel does. What does Allah do? Let me tell you something, Bakari. I know some crazy ass niggas that be on the corner of 15th and JFK and all across the earth that kick the Quran every week. That kick it and stomp on it. Because we know that the Quran is toilet paper, man. If y'all ever service announcement, by the way, if you ever run out of toilet paper, Scotch or Charmin's, I promise you, man, second surah, you know what I mean, or whatever part of that hadith, man, it's better. That's what I did with my Quran. I ran out of toilet paper, called Bob, and I was like, whoop, I got my dad's Quran, whoop, right under the sink to this day. You wanna know why? Because it's toilet paper, it's garbage. We're not supposed to be afraid of the Arabs and their God because it's the figment of their imagination. We're not supposed to be afraid of the oppressor. You know what I mean? And here's the thing. You serve the God of the oppressor right now because you're in the Christian church. You serve the gods of the Babylonians, man. Or if you were in the UPK, man, you was observing the Lord's Passover, observing the Feast of Unleavened Bread because we fear the Most High. Let's read on, Bakar.
Neither be ye afraid of them, when ye see the multitude before them and behind them, worshiping them.
Now, when you see the multitude before them and behind them worshiping them, listen, understand this, man. Understand this. You ain't supposed to serve the gods of Babylon. You're not supposed to serve the gods of the oppressor. And why are we not supposed to do that? Keep what you got. I'm gonna come back to that. You know what I mean? We're gonna go into Daniel too. I'm gonna go into some brothers, man, that was not afraid of the gods of Babylon, man. That wasn't afraid. Like you got, and this is why, you know what I mean, Commander Johnny Hanna is our leader, man. That he is under Christ. That he's the only one qualified to lead blacks, Latinos, and First Nation men and women because your leaders have failed. Your leaders compromise. Your entertainers, and why are you? That's why I don't understand. Like, we're the only people that look to entertainers to represent us and athletes. When they're good at their particular thing. You're good at singing, sing. You're good at, you know what I mean, catching the football, do that. Well, guess what? Barzal is damn good at being a priest of God.
That's right.
Ibaya is damn good at being a priest of God. Let the priest in the UPK be the priest of the Most High God Yahweh. Y'all can go back to pretending. This is not a job that we recommend for every black, Latino, and First Nation man. It ain't for every brother. You got to be throwed off to being here. Just say, I'm going to go and serve the Most High. I'm going to put on my all black like Bakar Yala is doing right now to shed yourself of the world when you could be smoking weed, where you could be getting high, or you can be messing with hoes. You could be eating shrimp, crab, pork, and lobster and not having a care in the white man's world. But instead, take my hats off to you brothers and your sisters, man, for coming in here and doing what the Lord said to do. Right. Because it's not an easy thing. That's why you got to stand strong in this truth, man. While the Lord is telling us, man, don't be afraid when you see the multitude worshiping them, man. Don't be afraid of that. We're about to go into three brothers, man, that was not afraid. We're going to go into Meshach, Shadrach, and Abednego real quick in Daniel because they didn't compromise. They were not afraid of the gods of Babylon, and neither should you. Neither should you. Like, you should be disgusted that our people are in Islam, that our people are in the Christian church celebrating Easter and your birthday and these other holidays that the oppressor tells us that we have to observe. No, we got to do what our God said to do. That's why he's telling us, don't be afraid of them. Meaning, don't fall weak. Don't be that brother, right? That says, well, my wife, man, she said if we don't go to her mama's house for Easter, she's going to take the kids and leave. Let them go. Let them leave.
Right.
Let you be the one to serve the Lord.
Right.
Let you be the one to serve the Lord. Don't do it. Don't fall weak and be like, oh man, it's just my family. I got to go do what they did. No. Your real family right here is in the UPK.
That's right.
Observing the Feast of Unleavened Bread.
Right.
But just observe the Lord's Passover, man. Don't fall weak, you know what I mean, to the oppressor in this evil, wicked society, man. That's why the Lord is telling us, man, beware therefore to be in no wise be like unto strangers, neither be afraid of them. When you see the multitudes before them and behind them worshiping them, like let them celebrate their gods. Let them do that. Let them have it. Like let the Arabs have Allah. They got it. Let the oppressor have Caesar Borgia. Let the Chinese have Buddha. Let them have it. Let the Africans have Egypt and Egyptology. We have the God of Israel. We have Yahweh. We have the God that sent the coronavirus that shut this economy down. We have the God that made Egypt a desolate dust bowl to this day and that is going to destroy America. That's the God that we have to serve. That's the God of blacks and Latinos and First Nation men and women. The nigger God. And the nigger God is telling us, don't be afraid of them while they worshiping them. Read verse 6, Bakar.
Come. But say ye in your hearts.
Say ye in your hearts, meaning say this in your minds. Because all this right here does is pump blood. Say this in your minds. Read on.
O Lord, we must worship thee.
Say, oh Lord, we must worship thee. Read that again.
But say ye in your hearts.
Say thee in your minds, black man, Latino man, First Nation man and woman. Put it in your mind that we have to do this. Read what you got.
O Lord, we must worship thee.
We must worship thee. We must worship Yahweh. We must do what our God, our power, our Father said to do. Read on.
For my angel is with you.
For my angel is with you. Meaning, you don't realize this right now, man, especially you being in this truth, man. You got angels walking with you. Angels is walking with you, watching your every move. That's why the Lord told us, man, you know what I mean, that the weapons of our warfare are not carnal. You don't gotta, oh Lord, where do I begin? You don't gotta form the Black Panther Party just to let the oppressor in because you need your white daddy. You don't gotta make the Go Back to Africa movement. You don't gotta go and join up with the Arabs and let Arabs in your organization. No, don't do that. We must worship our God. We must do what our God says. We must obey our power, our God. That's what we must do. But our people right now, that's how you know that Latinos and First Nation and black men and women are the lost sheep of the house of Israel. This is what made me realize that, man, when I was a young man in the truth, look at how hard-headed we are. Look at how stiff. That's why we are stiff-necked people. Like I Bob, we go out there and tell our people that Christ is a black man. We'll read it to you out the Bible, book, chapter, verse, and you'll still go to that church and say hallelujah Jesus to that white boy. If that's not us being a stiff-necked people, I don't know what is.
Right.
Because heathens get it. They get it. They walk past and nod like, yeah, you right, brother. You right. You right. Listen, call about. We had a devil tell us. Esau came over here interviewing Commander General Yahada and said, well, of course the Jews are black. Look at the climate. I couldn't live there. I'm like, goddamn. Esau, no. But you know who don't want to know? You know who doesn't really care? Our people. And that's why we go out there with the Lord said to do, man. Like the Lord told Ezekiel to go out there, man, and warn our people.
Right.
That's why we go out there to warn you, black man, Latino man, First Nation man and woman. This is not a game. This is not a game, man. It is. If I could, man, like we don't have that much time left. Like if I had to put it in a sports analogy, we're in the fourth quarter. I don't know the time, but we're in the fourth quarter. It's go time. It's crunch time. You know what I mean? We down 11. We down by 7. And it's time to go out there and come in the clutch and do what the Lord said to do. That's why he said, don't be afraid, for my angel is with you, man. Meaning, who can be? As a matter of fact, Bob, give me that precept you were holding in Romans. I'm ready for it.
This is the book of Romans 8 and verse 31.
Mm-hmm.
What shall we then say to these things?
Mm-hmm.
If God be for us.
If God be what?
For us.
If God be for us, black man, Latino man, First Nation man and woman, meaning if our God be for us, if the God of blacks and Latinos and First Nation men and women is for us, meaning if our God is with us, read on.
Who can be against us?
Who can be against us if our God is for us, man? Who can stand up to the God of Israel?
Right.
Who? You love Egypt. Egypt tried to. Pharaoh was talking big trash, Barzo.
Right.
Pharaoh was hard-headed, stiff-necked, man. He was stubborn. But man, oh man, they was crying. They was upset. You put a cape on them, Barzo. They was super mad. The Lord smoked the firstborn of all them Egyptians, man. They came out there after us. They came after us. We sitting up there eating unleavened bread, getting the hell out of Dodge, right? They came after us. And the Lord said, no sweat. A ball of fire came. You ever seen a tornado on fire? That is biblical, man. Well, a fire tornado came out of the sky and smoked those Egyptians. And they came into, when the Lord let Moses part the Red Sea. When the Lord parted the Red Sea and we walked through, by the time we got out, when them Egyptians were chasing after us, boom, wash them away. Them Africans understood who God was. They knew that God was not Ra. They knew that God was not some obelisk or Set or Akhenaten or whatever or Isis. They understood, man, something that our people need to understand, man. As the Lord said in Deuteronomy 6 and 4, Shema Yasha'Allah Yahweh Allahayanawa Yahweh God. Meaning our God is one God. Black man, Latino man, First Nation man and woman. And he's a jealous God. You can continue being in Egyptology if you want to. You can celebrate the God of the Babylonians if you want to. You can celebrate Ishtar, Easter if you want to. There's no, man. But if you do what the Lord said to do, come in this UPK, under command of Juliana, who can be, bro, I can tell you why y'all was shy, man. Most times Christ. Who can be against us, man? Who can be against us? Nobody. The last thing that the oppressor wants is for blacks and Latinos and First Nation men and women coming back together. They do not want that. They are terrified at that sight, man. They don't want that. That's why it's essential for us to do what the Lord said to do. Now, if I could, right, read verse 8.
Okay.
Gonna go a little bit more into this. Read verse 8 for me, Bubba, for sure.
Okay. As for their tongue, it is polished by the workman.
Here's another thing I never understood about these idols, like, bud. It says their tongue is polished by the workman. Imagine, right? Just imagine. Like, Barzo, you remember that day we went out there in Street Talk and we met those Egyptologists? Talking about, well, you know, we got another sense of knowledge. We don't limit it ourselves. We got this God. We got that God. We got the 42 negative confessions. I know, so they did. But each and every one of their gods are gold and silver, and they were sculpted. Somebody made that. Like Barzo, you're a hell of an artist. That's like you making a statue right now and then bow down to it. We're going to look at you like you're slow. Like, what do you do? You created that. Now, I'm confessing that these other nations are slow. Then how slow we must be for following after them? And then we wonder why we in captivity in America. We wonder why we being punished. It ain't never our fault, is it? It ain't never our fault. We do something in the crib, man. Says you tell a party not to touch that stove and he do it. He crying. You say, you touch that stove? He like, no, mama. Like, brother, I can see your hand. We know you touched it. That's how you know that we're God's chosen people. It's like, we thought we could hide amongst the other nations, man. Adam and Eve thought they could hide amongst the heathen because they wanted to go follow after them. And the Lord is like, nigga, don't you know that I can see you? I can see you over there with them heathens, man. I don't know them. I know you. Why the Lord said, as their tongue, it is polished by the workman, meaning it was made. Somebody made this. Somebody created this. And Bakari Allen, you got to help me out. Somebody made Gab. One of them nasty homosexual Africans, right, said, I'm going to make a sphinx. And aim, why all they guys got their rods aimed at their face? And other faces. Like, good night. Y'all want to be Egyptians? Man, good night. Like, good night. We straight over here in the UPK. We straight. We straight. It ain't nothing wrong with being straight. Like, stop. Like, y'all love to talk about Egypt, but you hate to bring out that it was the first LGBTQP community. Like, Egypt was the first metropolis for homosexuals. Don't believe me? Look at their gods. Like, when they gods sleep with each other, they rape each other. Like, good night, Bakari Allen. Good night. Read on.
And they themselves are gilded and laid over with silver.
Meaning, when they was in the process of making these gods, man, they laid over with silver. You taking a precious metal and putting it over and laying it and creating it. Read on.
Yet are they but false and cannot speak.
They are false and cannot speak. Akhenaten ain't going to talk to you. Shiva not going to talk to you. Like, Allah is not talking to you. Did y'all find what I was looking for the other day? Did we find it? Hey, I found a rock, Bakari, y'all. We was out there in the field bars all Hebrew Academy on the last day. I found Allah. I found Allah. I found a black rock, a black stone. I said, Ibad, surely this is Allah. And I said, I'm going to stand on him at camp. He ran away from me. That's right. It is COVID, Kawaba. He on vacation. He got sick leave. I'm going to find it again. That's the thing. Black man, Latino man, First Nation man and woman. They can't talk. They can't speak. Like, you going to Mecca. You going over there to Saudi Arabia to circle a stone 7 times and slam your face to the ground? Like, good night. Like, and then Christianity, which is such a lazy religion. It is so lazy. Like, you mean to tell me that you could be a whore and a whoremonger and a murderer and an evil, wicked bastard for 6 days, but on Sunday, you cry and sing songs in the midst of the molestation and the thievery, of course, in the adultery. In the midst of all that, you do all that, right? And say hallelujah, and you good. No, black man, Latino man, First Nation man and woman. That is not how it works. It does not work that way. These gods do not speak. They can't. Because if I could, young man, Jason, hold Psalms 96. Let's go to it. Go to Psalms 96 and verse 5 for me both to show. Go to Psalms 96 and verse 5. Let me explain to everybody what the gods of these other nations are and what they for and what the Lord thinks about them. Give me Psalms 96 and verse 5, boy, Bible show.
Psalms 96, 5. For all the gods of the nations are idols.
For all the gods of the nations are idols. Meaning all of these gods are idols. Meaning this. They're not real. They're not real. Caesar Borgia, white Jesus, that's not real. He was an actual man, Caesar Borgia. He was a pedophile, homosexual, raped his own sister, evil, wicked bastard, but he was not Christ. And guess what? Allah is the figment of the imagination of them Arabs, man. He didn't speak or nothing, didn't talk. Muhammad was a pedophile who married Aisha, who had sex with a young girl, a 6-year-old girl. But you want to be in Islam? You want to be in Muslim? Come on, man. That's why the Lord said, for the gods of the nations are idols. Read on.
Oh, God. But the Lord made the heavens.
God made the heavens, man. God made the heavens. Like the God of Israel, black man, Latino man, First Nation man and woman, he is God. Not these other nations' gods. I pray you understand. Now, if I could, right, I want to go into some brothers real quick that stood strong, man, that did not fall into idolatry, that did not get caught up in the customs of Babylon. Now, if I could, give me Bakaria, give me Daniel, right? 6 and verse bobbity. This whole chapter is good, man. The whole chapter is good. Daniel chapter 6, right? And verse. Matter of fact, no, give me Daniel chapter 3. Daniel chapter 3 and verse 1.
Come on.
I'll go into Daniel the 6th chapter tomorrow for the brotherhood class.
Come. The book of Daniel, chapter 3, verse 1. Nebuchadnezzar, the king made an image of gold.
Now, Nebuchadnezzar, who was the king of Babylon, right? He made an image of gold. And guess what? The image of gold, right? That statue that he made, you know what I mean? They have one in Vegas. They got one in Vegas. I don't know if y'all know. You know what I mean? That golden statue of Nebuchadnezzar, they got one. Read on.
Come. An image of gold, whose height was 80 cubits.
It was real tall.
And the breadth thereof 6 cubits. He set it up in the plain of Dura, in the province of Babylon.
He set this up in the province of Babylon, man. Now, for time's sake, I'm going to skip you down. Now, I want you to drop down to verse 5. Now, Nebuchadnezzar gathered all of his governors and captains and judges, all of his leaders under him, and said, we have to do this. Read verse 5.
Come. That at what time ye hear the sound of the cornet, flute, harp, sackbut, psaltery, dulcimer, and all kinds of music, ye fall down and worship the golden image that Nebuchadnezzar the king has set up.
Now, he said, when you hear this music, right, everyone is going to fall down and bow down to the image that Nebuchadnezzar set up, this golden statue of himself. Now, if you did not do it, this was going to be the penalty, the punishment. Read on.
And whoso falleth not down and worshipeth shall the same hour be cast into the midst of a burning fiery furnace.
Now, it said, now, if you don't do it, you don't bow down to this, you're going to be thrown into a fiery furnace. Now, a lot of you, if you were given this option, a lot of you would be like, Salakia, keep that fiery furnace away from me. But you got some brothers we about to read about that was one West. That was hardcore. That heard that and did not do it. Drop down to verse 12.
Verse 12. There are certain Jews whom thou hast set over the affairs of the province of Babylon.
Now, there were certain Jews, right? There were black men that were chosen to be the settle affairs over Babylon. Now, if I have to put it in this analogy, there were brothers, right, that were high ranking in Nebuchadnezzar's kingdom, that were high in his society. Where you got brothers today, man, that are high in the oppressor society. That would be like Colin Powell, like Bush putting out a decree saying, you got to do this, and Colin Powell saying, nah, I'm going to serve the God of Israel. Nigga, that's treason. Right. That is treason. Colin wouldn't do that because he loves the oppressor. Where you had certain Jews that heard all that and said, yeah, no. They didn't compromise. They didn't come out and say the Jews are black. So are the Latinos and First Nation men and women. Oh, wait, I lost my show. Let me backtrack and apologize on my statement. These brothers you're about to read about, they ain't Deshaun Jackson and Nick Cannon. They're not your celebrities or your athletes. We're about to read about some real hardcore brothers real quick, man. Read on.
Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego.
Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. They didn't bow. They were over and set over the affairs of Babylon. Read on.
These men, O king, have not regarded thee.
Man, you know what that means where it says these men have not regarded thee? They ignored it. They heard all that and was like, yeah, nah, I ain't doing that. I'm not bowing down because Nebuchadnezzar said, bow down to this image. I'm good. I'm Gucci. Salakia. I'm going to serve the God of Israel. Read on.
They serve not thy gods,
Mm-hmm.
nor worship the golden image which thou hast set up.
They snitching to Nebuchadnezzar. They like, you know, them niggas, Meshach, Shadrach, and Abednego, they not worshiping the gods of Babylon, Nebuchadnezzar. You know, you said you put them Negroes high up. Because here's the thing, right? When they took us out of Israel, they took the best of us. They took the best of us. Like we were their entertainment. We were in their government and in their militaries. Does that sound familiar? Does that sound familiar? That's America. They do this to this very day, where we entertain the oppressor. We're over their affairs. You got governors and members of the Senate that did not stand with the Lord, man, but decided to be in the world like the oppressor, man. But these brothers did not compromise. They understood that, hey, I'm in captivity. Nebuchadnezzar gave me this job, this slavery, to go do this and be over this province. But I'm not going to betray my God. I'm not going to betray my people. Read on. They were hardcore.
Verse 13. Then Nebuchadnezzar, in his rage and fury, commanded to bring Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Then they brought these men before the king.
Mm-hmm.
Nebuchadnezzar spake and said unto them, it is true, O Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego.
He said, is it true? Read on.
Do not ye serve my gods, nor worship the golden image which I have set up?
He said, you're not going to serve my gods, nor worship the golden image which I have set up. He's telling you, you're not going to serve my gods and this image that I just set up. You're not going to do it? What's wrong with you? Don't you like it here in Babylon? Don't you like the position that I put you in? You don't want to compromise? Read on.
Now if ye be ready, that at what time ye hear the sound of the cornet, flute, harp, sackbut, psaltery, and dulcimer, and all kinds of music, ye fall down and worship the image which I have made. He
said, when I play this music, you better fall down and worship this image. You better do it. Or, read on.
The image which I have made, well, but if ye worship not, ye shall be cast the same hour into the midst of a burning fiery furnace.
Mm-hmm.
And who is that God that shall deliver you out of my hands?
Look how arrogant Nebuchadnezzar is. He said, who is that God that's going to deliver you from me? See the arrogance in this heathen? He's like, who's going to save you from me? He think he's giving us an ultimatum. Now listen to their answer. Read on.
Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego answered and said to the king, O Nebuchadnezzar, we are not careful to answer thee in this matter.
Meaning this. You sure you want to hear what our answer is? Because we got our answer for you right now. Read on.
If it be so.
He said, if it be so, make showing no fear. Read on.
Our God, whom we serve, is able to deliver us from the burning fiery furnace.
He said, our God is able, if it be so. He said, if it be so, our God can deliver us from this burning fiery furnace. But it's what they said after this, which was one west, which was hardcore. Read on.
And he will deliver us out of thy hand, O king. But if not.
He's saying, but if not. He's saying the God of Israel can do this. But if he doesn't, guess what? Read on.
But if not, be it known unto thee, O king, that we will not serve thy God.
That we will not what?
Not serve thy God.
That we will not what?
Not serve thy God.
And most high in Christ, man, bro, I can tell y'all why y'all was shot. Meaning, even if not, we still not gonna serve your gods. Meshach, Shadrach, and Abednego was hardcore, man. They saying, forget your Easter, we're gonna serve the Lord. We're gonna celebrate the Passover. We're gonna celebrate the Feast of Unleavened Bread. We're gonna do what our God commanded us to do. We still not gonna do what you said. Who the hell is you? Read on.
God. Nor worship the golden image which thou hast set up. Then Nebuchadnezzar, full of fury, and the form of his visage was changed against Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego.
He was so visibly mad. He was like, hey, he said, who were they talking to? Oh, yeah, I got something for you. I got something for you niggas. Throw them in the furnace. Throw them in the furnace. Read on.
God. Therefore he spake and commanded that they should heat the furnace 7 times more than it was wont to be heated.
Listen, he heated that furnace 7 times hotter than it was supposed to be. That's how angry Nebuchadnezzar was, man. Read on.
Oh God. And he commanded the most mighty men that were in his army to bind Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego.
He got all of his strong heathens that was in his army to bind our brothers up. Read on.
And to cast them into the burning fiery furnace.
Mm-hmm.
Then these men were bound in their coats, their hosen, and their hats, and their other garments.
Man, they was thrown in there with their garments on, with their headpieces on, just in the burning furnace. Read on.
And were cast into the midst of the burning fiery furnace.
Mm-hmm.
Therefore, because the king's commandment was urgent, and the furnace exceeding hot, the flame of the fire slew those men that took up Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego.
Listen, that fire was so hot that it killed the men of Nebuchadnezzar that bounded them up. Like it slew them. They died. But what about Meshach, Shadrach, and Abednego? Reading on.
And these 3 men, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, fell down, bound into the midst of the burning furnace.
Mm-hmm.
Then Nebuchadnezzar, the king, was astonished.
He was astonished, meaning this. Nebuchadnezzar looked and said, yo, what's going on? What do I see? Read on.
The king was astonished and rose up in haste and spake and said unto his counselors.
He got up like, hold up. Wait a minute. Come here. He can't believe what he's seeing. Read on.
Did not we cast 3 men bound into the midst of the fire?
But he was like, we threw 3 niggas in there, right? 3. Well, we threw 3 niggas in there. Read on.
They answered and said unto the king, true, O king.
They're like, yeah, sir, we threw 3 niggas in there. Read on.
He answered and said, lo, I see 4 men.
I see who?
4 men.
He said, I see 4 men. Meaning he saw the angel of the Lord. We just read in Baruch the 6th chapter that my angel will be with thee. Shalom. You do what the Lord said to do, man. You could be like Meshach, Shadrach, and Abednego, man. The Lord sent his angel to be down with them brothers, man. Them other heathens that bound them in there, they ain't make it out that burning furnace. But here go Meshach, Shadrach, and Abednego in there chilling. In there chilling with the angel of the Lord. Mm-hmm. Read on.
Walking in the midst of the fire, and they have no hurt. And the form of the 4th is like the Son of God.
The form of the 4th is like the Son of God. Man, it's an angel of the Lord, man, that came down. The Lord sent his angel down to deliver our brothers, man. Read on.
Then Nebuchadnezzar came near to the mouth of the burning fiery furnace and spake and said, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, Ye servants of the Most High God.
And ye servants of what?
The Most High God.
He said this heathen understood. Nebuchadnezzar knew. Ye servants of the Most High God, Yahweh. Nebuchadnezzar learned that day that there was one God. He was the God of blacks, Latinos, and First Nation men and women, man.
Right.
Now, if I could, right? Brother, give me Exodus chapter 23 and verse 22. Let me get that, Bubba Shaw. Let me get that. No questions in the room, right? And I'm assuming none online. Close out with this scripture or one more. Yeah, let me get Exodus chapter 23 and verse 22. That's what the Lord said, man. And what we have to understand as blacks and Latinos, man. And if we do what the Lord said to do, we don't have to worry about these other nations. Read what you got.
But if thou shalt indeed obey his voice,
If we indeed obey the voice of our God, Yahweh, read it.
and do all that I speak,
And do all that I speak. The Lord tells us to do all that he speaks. To keep the Passover, man. To keep the Feast of Unleavened Bread, man. To keep the law, statutes, and commandments. Read on.
then I will be an enemy unto thine enemy.
The Lord said that he would be an enemy unto thy enemies. Meaning God said that he would be an enemy unto our enemies. And our enemies are these other nations. Our enemies are the oppressor, are the Africans, are these heathens, man. That's what we have to realize as God's chosen people. Our God said that he was going to be an enemy unto our enemies. If we indeed obeyed his voice. And we did what God said to do, we ain't have to worry about these heathens, man. We don't have to be worried and afraid, you know what I mean, what's going to happen if we don't celebrate Easter? What's going to happen if we don't celebrate our birthdays or Christmas or Thanksgiving or Memorial Day or any of these other wicked satanic holidays, man? Guess what? Our God said that if we were to obey him and do what he said to do, that he would be an enemy unto our enemies. Read on.
And an adversary unto thine adversaries.
And an adversary unto thy adversaries. Meaning this, God is an adversary to all of our adversaries, man. Because our adversaries and enemies hate the Lord, man. Hate our God. That's why we have to do this as blacks, Latinos, and First Nation men and women. We have to understand this crucial thing right here. Let me get this real quick. Bob, you can read this one. Read Zephaniah chapter 2. No, brother, you can read it. Young man, you can close out with this. Give me Zephaniah 2 and verse 1. I'm going to paraphrase it, man. Like the Lord told us in 1 Peter, the second chapter, man. We are that chosen generation, that royal priesthood. You know what I mean? The real priests and prophets are the ones in the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge under command of General Yohana. This is their royal priesthood. Your pastor is not a priest. Your imam's not a priest. You know what I mean? Your fake Israelite leaders masquerading in purple and trying to holler at bottle girls and get their numbers. They are not priests of the Lord. The real priests are in the Isupk under command of General Yohana, man. You know what I mean? A royal priesthood, a peculiar people. We're that special people that the Lord chose. We were called out of the darkness, you know what I mean? Called out of the darkness and into his marvelous light, meaning called into this truth. If you tuning into this class right now, online or in class, physically in your zone, you're being called out of the world, man, to come into this truth, to change your life. I pray you understand. Now let me get Zephaniah 2 and verse 1, Bubba Kushon.
Come. Gather yourselves together, ye gather together. O nation not desired.
We are that nation that is not desired. Lord said, gather yourselves together. Yea, gather together. O nation not desired. Because we are not desired as blacks, Latinos, and First Nation men and women. But the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge under command of General Yohana, man, desires all blacks, Latinos, and First Nation men and women. Our King desires all blacks, Latinos, and First Nation men and women. Yahweh Shah Mashiach, that the world ignorantly knows is Jesus Christ. And our God, Yahweh, the God of blacks, Latinos, and First Nation men and women, desires us to come back into this truth.
Right.
Come back into this truth, Latino man and woman, First Nation man and woman, Black man and woman. And with that
Right.
being said, it's the Monday night scripture breakdown class. Go ahead, brother.
Sir, can you help me find, excuse my ignorance, the passage goes, if you please the Lord, he will make your enemies at peace with you.
Come. I got you real quick. Mm-hmm. You know what's important about that scripture, brother? If your ways please the Most High, Proverbs 16 and 7. As a matter of fact, you can read it. Yeah, read Proverbs. I'll let you read it. Read Proverbs 16 and verse 7. Yeah, read that for real quick.
Proverbs 16:7. When a man's ways please the Lord.
When a man's ways please the Lord, when you come out of the world, right? When you take your mind out of America and not celebrate Easter and Thanksgiving and Christmas, guess what? People are going to turn their backs on you.
Right.
Your mama is going to turn her back on you. Father's going to do it too. You can forget about them wife and them kids, right?
Right.
But when your ways please the Lord, right? When you do what the Lord said to do, by not celebrating these holidays, by not eating shrimp, crab, pork, and lobster, guess what? Read on.
He maketh even his enemies to be at peace with him.
Right.
He makes your enemies be at peace with him. Your enemies will be at peace with you.
Right.
They will. You don't have to worry about that, man. You don't have to worry about your enemies. You know what I mean? Those looking at you crazy because you're rolling with them crazy niggas on the corner. You know what I mean? That wear that all black in the UPK. That is just overly masculine, toxic, because we done heard it all. Guess what? When your ways please the Lord, your enemies will be at peace with you. Meaning you don't have to worry about your enemies coming at you at all fronts of what they say and what they'll do, because your ways please the Lord. And that's why what we read earlier, which was heavy, in Romans 8:31 and Exodus 23rd chapter. If God be for us, who could be against us? Who could be against us? Lord said, you know what I mean, that if we obey him, that he would be an enemy unto our enemies, an adversary unto our adversaries.
Right.
Who can come up against the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge? We are undefeated. We are undefeated. Ask Zulu Shabazz, ask Polite, ask the Christian Church, ask the Muslim Mosque, ask your fake Israelite groups, man. The UPK under Command of General Yohana is undefeated. It's going to remain that way. I pray you understand. Because the ISUPK under Command of General Yohana, our ways please the Lord, man. That's why the Lord is with us, and not with the Christian Church, not with the Muslim Mosque, not with them individualites. That's why you have to make sure coming to these classes, man, and turn and change your life. Put on that all black. Put them boots on. Put on that black war scarf, man, and shed yourself of the world. Your way, that's the way to please the Lord, man. When you do that, your enemies will be at peace with you. How do I know? Because I was just like that. And I had to gird up my loins. I had to change my life. I'll never forget my first day in class, brother, to share something with you before I close this class. I came in here with my homie in the world, somebody I thought that was down with me. Little did I know that he was not down with me. Because I chose to be down with the Lord. And I was discouraged about it a little bit. I thought about not coming. But then it's a priest in this room that reached out to me via Twitter and said, the Lord is calling you home. To keep coming to class. And I heeded to that wise counsel. with that brother. And because of that, my enemies are now at peace with me. I pray you understand. And with that being said, man, this is the Monday night scripture breakdown class. You know what I mean? I'm preaching officer of 1000 Yediah. Make sure y'all tune in to Black Watch every Monday, 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. Commander General Yohana always brings it down heavy. He also breaks it down heavy on Wednesdays now from 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. Every Monday, man, let a Hebrew speak. 12 Shield General Hazayan or 6 Shield General Katham Gabar And my brother officer, you know what I mean, a 5,000 Marah. My other brother, you know what I mean, precinct officer, 500 Abba, y'all let the Hebrew speak. Ask you the prophets every Wednesday with 12 Show General Mayaka Allah. You know what I mean? Ask you the prophets every Wednesday from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. General Mayak, ask you the prophets. You got any questions, whether it's on the scriptures or your life or just a question on anything, General Mayak will break it down for you. Tune in to Cross the Line Radio every Thursday with Captain Cesario, Captain Kakazai, 10 p.m. to 12 a.m. Tune in to One West Radio with my big brother, Precinct Captain 13,000 Goodall Hall. You know what I mean? And my brother, Captain 10,000 Cornwall, my brother, obviously 5,000 Double Wine. And with that being said, I'm going to pass the class off to Precinct Officer of 500, Ibahaya.
The precinct officer, Yedaya, strong hand, about class. In the Israelite School, the Universal Practical Knowledge Security Announcements. We are the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge, started out at 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under Commander General Yohana. Rule for new brother and sister. When a new brother or sister comes into the school, they are off limits for 6 months. They are to be saluted only. They are here to share themselves with the world. If they need transportation, the teacher will arrange it. After 6 months, if a brother or sister has an interest in a particular person, he or she must get permission from the head to speak to a brother or sister. There is another 6 months in which the brother and sister will court each other. After this month period, the brother and sister will get permission from the head to marry. Tithe, which is a commandment, found in the book of Numbers, 18 verse 21. In the book of Malachi, 3 verses 8 through 10. Ma'asher, is 10th in Hebrew. 10% of every penny of any increase the Lord gives you, give to the treasury department, priest fund. Free will offering for priests, not mandatory whatsoever amount you would like. Upcoming holy convocations. We are in the Feast of Unleavened Bread, the 15th day of the first month for 7 days. It started Saturday, April 16th, and it's going to end Saturday, April 23rd, 2022 at sundown. It's found in the book of Leviticus chapter 12, verses 17 through 20, and Leviticus chapter 23, verses 6 through 8. Remind and eat a piece of unleavened bread every day. Remind Akim and Akwathian to check the bulletin board in the hallway. If any brother wants to be a trooper in the school, start wearing all black boots, shirt, headbands, and or scarfing with that. To the brothers at Madra. You want to do any prayers? Oh, sisters at Madra. SARS upon Rock Redemption's turn and face the east. We're going to set up the Lord's Prayer in the Hebrew. Abinel. Tabashamayah. Kodash. Ayah. Shabbat. Yahweh. Abba. Isaiah.
Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, in earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts, as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever. So be it.
Sar, which means to turn. Yeshabi to the sisters, which means to be seated. Men of Israel, we'll give one person salute. Men of Israel, March Shabbat. And March Barak.
Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua Barak Atam.
Touch the top, means hands down. Sar, turn and face the sisters. Sister Mamaji, which means to stand. Sisters, your March Shabbat is your head bowed and your feet connected at a 45-degree angle, and your right hand claps over your left. When we salute you, you salute us back. Men of Israel, we'll give the sisters one courtesy salute. Men of Israel, Ma'am Shabbat. Emad. Barak.
Yahweh Shemar Azam Ba'ashem Yahushua.
That's your top. And we hand down. Class Smith. We have unleavened bread in the back for anyone who would like to have a piece of unleavened bread.
Now, why?